Hello friend, thank you for tuning in. Let's check on some of the new fish and on some of the old fish here in the fish room with a very quick lap of the fish room. Let's catch up. Let's take a look at each of my main tanks and talk about what's going on in each. Let's go ahead and get going. I don't really get into a lot of detail about this planted community tank. I usually just go flying by it. Some of you have asked for more information about it, and it is one of my, well, I like all my tanks, so I can't say it's one of my favorites because they're all kind of my favorite, but I do like this tank a lot. It's very relaxing, very peaceful. It's got a lot of life going on. I'm constantly seeing new baby plecos. That's a pretty spotted one right there. Little albino. Always getting new snails. You can see the little babies up here. There's a baby snail. Baby snail. They're all over the place. So it's a very alive tank. It's a very healthy ecosystem. I cut back some of the vines that were coming out of this lily, and now it's shooting out a shorter vine. But I kind of like that because it's a beautiful leaf. But it still is shooting those tall leaves. I did put some new autos in this aquarium a while back. I'm not sure if I really announced it, but there are more little auto cichlids in this aquarium. You'll see them as we go through the tank. A lot of crypts, and yes, I do use those catappa leaves or almond leaves. You can see one of the plecos munching on it right there. I've had a school of neon tetras for quite a while. Some of you tell me that you have trouble keeping neons alive. For some reason, I've been pretty lucky and have been able to keep a group of them going and happy, just like with the Rummy Nose. Some of you tell me Rummy Nose have been hard for you to keep going. These Rummy Nose are just Energizer bunnies that just keep going. Again, one of my favorite fish, I think very underrated, that bright red Rudolph nose and the black and white striped tail, like a taxi cab. Just a really attractive fish, in my opinion. I've got some of those brilliant rasboras in there that I added. I've got some Anubias. I put a big air stone in the back corner, which is kind of good because the aquariums are running a little bit warm here in the garage during summer temperatures. This is not a jungle val. This is actually a type of crypts. Love this plant. I haven't had any luck with jungle val, but this one has done really well. It's all natural wood. There's no artificial wood. The rocks are real. This tank is the real deal. Very nice Anubias right there. Probably getting more light than it should. I've got some hornwort, a little bit of Java fern that's just sort of anchored right there on the cord that helps measure the temperature of the tank for the controllers. So I've got a controller, two controllers up there. The one on the left is the discus tank at 83 degrees. Got some those little red embers. Really cute little fish. There are about 5 or 6 of them in here. There's also a group of cory cats that are always hiding. About 4 or 5 of those in here too, a variety of cory cats. There's one digging back there behind the lily. There's an auto cichlids right there, little auto. You can see all the little snail dots all over the aquarium. I never run out of snails. This substrate is supposed to be a special substrate for plants I picked up at the local fish store. Been very happy with the look of it. Plant seemed to like it. There's another little auto. There's a Nubius down there that I didn't put it there. It just sort of found its way there, anchored itself, and that's just where it's been living. I think that's like a little nana petite, little petite Nubius petite. I like that broadleaf plant there. These plants primarily were sent to me by the Aquarium Co-op. My friends Enzo and Corey and the group. You know, Candy, Jimmy, the whole gang there at the Co-op have been very good in helping get this tank going. Right next door to it, we've got the discus that I picked up from Josh over at Cunningham Tropicals. There are 10 discus in here. They're putting on size. They're not the size of dinner plates, like you hope that they get to eventually, but they are putting on some good size and looking pretty good. I've seen a couple chasing one another, so they are starting to assert themselves a little bit, which comes with maturity as they get older, especially as they start to get into that phase of life where they would be breeding. That's where I think the aggression will probably show up the most. One of you pointed out that there is some peppering, what they call peppering. You see the little black spots on the forehead of the fish, little black spots. In some cases it's a little thicker. They refer to it as peppering. Not uncommon with discus. Some discus claim to be pepper free and then they start to pepper anyway. But a lot of it I think is related to what drives the color in a lot of fish. Color and markings very often are driven by the calmness of the situation. In other words, is it stressful or is it stress-free? Where are they in the pecking order, in the hierarchy? And what is the color of your substrate and background? Also, you have lighting and diet. A lot of factors can play into why a discus would start to show peppering. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, why don't you stop by on Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, that's 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, for the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. That's every Saturday, that's at 11 a.m. Central Time. Goes for about an hour. Great group of fish keepers get together, talk about everything related to fish, from filtration to types of fish to aggression to substrates to filtration, you name it. 1 hour of fish talk on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central. Stop on by. Love to see you there. All right, let's get back to the lap of the fish room. They're all hanging out because they know I'm going to be feeding them, and they will still eat from my hand. You can see they have really no fear. What I've done is every time I've done maintenance on this tank, whether it's a water change or vacuuming or moving decor around, I always end it with a treat. Maybe some bloodworms, something like that. So they've come to associate my presence and my being around and messing around with treats. So they're like little puppy dogs now. They know that I'm the treat guy. The plants in here, you know, kind of a mixed bag. Again, trying to get them to survive and thrive at 83 degrees is a little bit of a challenge, but some seem to do better than others. I don't think the Anubias are liking it too much, even though you would think, being a plant that you find actually in Lake Malawi at high temperatures, you think it would do well. The octopus plants seem to thrive, even though they do break free from the substrate. I think the stalks just sort of snap. And again, I've got natural wood in here and real rock, a couple air stones. And again, this tank is at 83, so Oxygen has a little bit of a hard time dissolving in a higher temperature tank. So you really want to provide some air stones. All of the air going into these tanks is being pumped into them with pumps that use battery backup. So if there's ever a power outage, oxygen continues to be added to the aquariums. Some of them will run for 8 hours. I think the cobalt runs for like 48 hours, so it depends on the lithium battery. Just to the right, we have the 90-gallon, and if you've been following my channel, you know that I put in that green tear. Redhead Tapajos crowding the front. Little camera hogs, beautiful fish. Look at the colors on the pectoral, tail, dorsal. A couple of them are more spectacular than others, but I just think geos in general are just a beautiful fish. There's the king camera hog, red spotted gold severum. I've thought about possibly trying him in the 210-gallon. I have that red shoulder in there. He seems to be surviving okay. This one was always more docile. So even though I'm tempted to try him in the 210-gallon, I would feel terrible if I put him in there and then he got torn up. So I'm a little bit divided on that. Here's the electric blue Ochart, the only fish that really had any interest in the new edition. My little green tear. Very hard to film. You can see him darting back there. I think right up there with Jack Dempsey's with regards to just beautiful, just a beautiful fish. You know, you get the Jack Dempsey's, you get some of the, there's some specimens that just look like they have electric lights, that they come with a battery pack. And green tears are one of those. And of course I've got some blue Congos in here who are also very hard to film because they don't like to come to the front. There's some Buenos Aires tetras in there. I think I've got about 3 or 4 males in the blue Congos. And they get into skirmishes with each other from time to time, but for the most part, they're okay. You behaving? Someone made a comment under my video that this tank was his now. He can have this tank if he's a benevolent tank boss. If he gets too rough, I'll put him in the 210, and he will be definitely the smallest kid on the playground. Love the look of a green terror. Some of you have asked me how you can help the fish room, support the channel, things like that. You being here watching, that's really all I can ask for. But if you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, share the video, and also consider becoming a Garage Gang member, a Patreon monthly supporter. It starts for as little as $3 a month, and as I like to say, helps out in more ways than you know. I'll put a video link here that will show you some of the details of it, but it's called the Patreon program, and it's just a great way to support the channel. There are other ways that I talk about during the Saturday live streams, but that's a great way. But you just being here and watching, that's the best way overall. Thanks. Let's get back to the video. To the right of the 90-gallon, we have the 300-gallon African cichlid tank. Got that Borley eye in there, doing great. It's a new fish. They're always hungry. That's a sign that they're healthy. They act hungry. Here's the Linny Off to the right here. Really cool fish. I can get him over here. There's the Strigatus. One of the new fish. The colors that are coming in on this sand diver. He's starting to look really good. Getting that green, that metallic green on the top of his body. So you can make that out here on the sand diver. Beautiful. Fire hat. You see his anal fin isn't quite as black as it normally is. So he's calmed down a little bit. When that anal fin gets real black, that means he's fired up and he's going to make trouble. There's my little Autopharynx tetrastigma back there. Behind the Borlei, there he is right there. Watching him put on color is going to be just amazing. Little deep water hap. Taiwan reef. He's the one that got all worked up when they added the new fish. He was the only fish that got really kind of worked up. Mirror rocks, beautiful fish. These fish are a combination of fish from Friends and also a lot of them are from Fritz, Andre Fritz. Look at that gar. Look at the mouth on that gar. That mouth is designed to get baby Mabuna from between rocks. But a lot of these are from Beantown Aquatics. And I still have some of the fish from the Cichlid Shack. Like that beautiful trout. He's one of my older fish from the Cichlid Shack. The hawk. The hawk has got something going on. It looks like he banged into something. He's got an injury on his head. It doesn't look like something or another fish bit him. It looks like he banged into something. I intentionally don't keep very sharp rocks in here, but a rock is a rock, and if they hit it hard enough and just right, they can get injured. I'll keep an eye on it. If it shows any signs of infection, I'll have to pull him out. The Coingi, the big Coingi, one of my oldest African cichlids, is in a hospital tank right now. It looks like he either scraped up against something or took a shot from another fish and it started to infect. And so I'm running him through a regimen of Fritz Marison in a 29-gallon hospital. Some light over here so you can see the guys hiding over here. You've got the there's the tiger, that beautiful tiger. Strigatus, Buccochromis spectabilis. Up there, that's the spectabilis. Again, these fish are young. They're going to be putting on more color and become quite spectacular. Here's the Linny with his funny little mouth. Again, an ambush predator who likes to get between rocks and eat small fish. Of course, it's not doing much of that here. That gar. Crazy face. The colors on that Fusco really blossoming. Hey, buddy. Featured that trout in a recent live stream. One of my favorite all-time cichlids. Okay, one last stop. Let's take a look here at the 210-gallon. There's old Sally down there. Nicaragua. Pretty girl. Big Oscars. Big water pups. Here's that red shoulder I was talking about. Several people thought he would make it in here, but he's done okay. There's a chocolate staring at the wall. If you follow my channel for a long time, you remember this vieja? Just a 3 to 4 inch little gray fish. Just a giant beast right now. There's that little Jack Dempsey guarding that rock. I'd be worried if he wasn't coming up and eating, but he is. He eats really well. But for some reason, he just loves that rock. They have some kind of a relationship. Of course, I got my silver dollar dither fish. 2 chocolates in here. Some people act surprised that 2 chocolates can get along. These have been together since they were very young. And again, you got a fish that goes from brown to purple to red to green. Just an amazing fish. 2 giant pieces of driftwood. Actually, it was 1 giant piece of driftwood that I harvested at a local lake. Brought it in, cleaned it up really good. And it's been, I don't know, what, 2 years? And it still hasn't sunk to the bottom. It'll probably never sink. But there's the firemouth. Fell in love with that fish the first time I saw him. It's got a bright green eye. Really pretty. So there's the lap. Do you have any tips for me? Any ideas? Anything you'd like to share? Share them in the comments below. I like to hear from them. We all learn from each other at this channel. And am I missing a fish? Do you think my fish room is missing a fish? Let me know in the comments. And I'm always looking to add something interesting or exciting to the fish room. Let me know what tips you have, and this will continue to be a work in progress, partly from my intention and my ideas, and also partly from your input. All right? Thank you. And if you'd like my best tips, click on this playlist up here. It's full of information, a whole bunch of information. And if you'd like to subscribe, just hit me in the mug right over here. All right? Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.